Good afternoon, people. Today is my next lecture in your subject Management Process and Organization. Our chapter today is Key Controllable Variables. Right? So, what are exactly key control variables? I shall start now. Some economists believe that different departments in an organization should be treated as a different entity, and they should be rewarded departmentally as per their as per their profits. So this is the belief of some economists. Those are called neoclassical economists. They believe that different departments in an organization should be treated differently. For example, there is an HR department, there is an research and development department, there is a training department. These departments should, in an organization itself, in one organization, should be treated differently. Their profits should be treated differently, and they should be rewarded as per their profits. However, this theory may not be seen too feasible, as different departments have different expenditures which cannot be considered while awarding profits. Working out the profits of the HR, training, research and development department may be quite difficult. Why do you think it may be difficult? The HR department, we'll just take an example of the HR department. The primary work of the department is to hire recruits and blend them kind of into the organization. Why is it that its profits cannot be calculated separately? It is because the HR department is bringing in people, they're bringing in employees. How do they know, or rather, how can you calculate in terms of profits? How can you calculate what a particular employee has done for the organization? They all work, any employee works towards the ultimate goal of an organization. The training department gives training to people, to employees. The research and development department researches and then comes up with development, which may take some time to get profits. So how do you calculate it? It's very difficult to calculate its profits. These departments do not have a set expenditure as compared to a production department, which may have a set production cost. Production department has a set cost. This is our cost. In this, we have to manufacture this particular product. But an R&D department, a training department, doesn't have such expenditures. Giving a training to an employee, how can you kind of calculate it? You cannot. These departments work in accordance with the overall objective of the organization, so it cannot be treated as a separate entity. This brings the dual focus approach, or building self-control, comes into focus. So the dual approach says that all the departments in an organization should have goal congruence, should work towards the ultimate goal of the organization. So basically, this is how it cannot be calculated, it cannot be quantified. What are the factors that are the key success factors for an organization? Control variables are to assess different departments in an organization. It is the combination of facts that is required in order to accomplish one or more desirable goals. An example for key success factor in promoting animal food products might be to advertise them in a way that appeals to those consumers who love animals. Below are the factors that affect the key success variable. So the control variables, these are some of the control variables that assess different departments. It is said that although in an organization there are many different departments. However, every department in an organization should have their ears and eyes opened so that they can easily understand the variables. They may not be the fixed factors, they may not be the fixed factors uh, that may depend upon the profits for an organization. These are variables which every department should take care of and should understand what these kind of variables are. The factors that affect the key success variables are industry characteristics. So, for example, you take the hotel or the aviation industry. Their fixed cost might be the fuel cost. I'm sorry, not for hotel, but for aviation. If you see, for aviation, the fixed cost may be the fuel cost, and whatever is fixed. However, there are certain variables. So what is the variable? The inventories. For hotel and aviation, for airlines, both it is their inventory that they have to sell. The seats in hotels, the rooms, if the rooms and the seats in an airplane are not filled up, what do? They lose on it. So this is something that every department in an organization has to work towards. Competitive strategy. What kind of strategy are you looking for your business? As in, you may want to have a high quality product but with a high price, because high quality product mostly comes with a high price. Or you want to keep the price low, and you also want to accommodate, or rather give a mediocre quality product. For example, there is Burberry. I'm sorry, there's Burberry. They sell belts and wallets, and one belt of Burberry costs £100. So they have not deterred with their quality. The product quality is of very high quality, and but again the price is also high. So how do you want to strategize? How do you want to keep your quality? What is your strategy towards this? What do you think it should be? Environmental forces. There are certain industries that have a lot of negative effect on environment, which is the paper industry, the chemical industries. Such kind of industries have a lot of negative so they have to see that they are treating the environment ethically. They should also keep in mind that environment, we all live in environment which we have to take care of. We all know the Bhopal gas tragedy. Until few years ago, children born were with defects, which was the impact of the gas tragedy that happened. So the companies have to ethically treat the environment. They cannot, the governments today, the NGOs, non-governmental organizations today, are very focused on the ethical treatment by the organizations on the environment. We just cannot leave the environment. Significant problems. Many organizations would have significant problems of their own that needs to be taken care of by every department. Functional issues. Every department has their own functional issues. They should sort it out. Delegation and decentralization. Delegation occurs when someone with authority confers upon other person the power to do a particular task. However, the ultimate responsibility for task completion usually remains the responsibility of the person who delegated the authority to complete it. I can delegate my work to someone. For example, I am checking a paper by students. I'm checking a test paper done by students. I delegate this authority to someone known to me, to someone I assume that would be able to do this correctly. And so I give my authority to that particular person to check the test papers. But what happens? He makes a mistake, he or she makes a mistake. That authority of mistake lies with me. It would be assumed that uh, I have committed the mistake. It's me who has committed this mistake, not the other person, because it's a delegation. He is not entitled, he or she is not entitled to have authority on his own. That's me who has delegated my authority. The responsibility lies with me. In decentralization, the responsibility, the authority, both is given to this person. So I'll take the same example. I give my test papers to someone else to check it, and this I have decentralized. This authority has been decentralized, which means he would be responsible for any mistakes committed. A decentralized system is one which requires multiple parties to make their own independent decisions. For example, in a company, there is a CEO, there is a CFO. Then, if we see downwards, then there is an AVP, then there is a VP, then there is an AVP, then there are senior managers in different departments, and then there comes team leaders, supervisors. So this is the hierarchy, and the managers, the senior managers, even the team leaders, up to team leaders, they are allowed to take their decision. They can make important decisions on their own within that particular department. This is decentralization. What is the difference between delegation and decentralization? Managers delegate some of their responsibilities with subordinates in delegation. However, the right to take decisions is shared by top management and other level of management. Responsibility remains of the managers in delegation, however, is given to subordinates in decentralization. So, as I said, managers may delegate their responsibility with subordinates. However, it is the responsibility, the onus of responsibility lies with them. In decentralization, they can take decisions. Freedom is not given in delegation. Decentralization gives freedom to work. Why is freedom not given in delegation? Because you do not have powers. A subordinate does not have powers. Authority is granted by one individual in delegation. Decentralization is a systematic act. My manager comes to me and tells me to do something, to make a report. Just an example, to make a report on his behalf. What do? I see the details given, I see the data given, I make the report. I forward that report not to the higher management, not to the CEO. I forward that report to my manager. Manager makes changes to it, sees the report, goes through it, makes any changes that he wants to make, and then forwards it to the CFO or the CEO. This is delegation. Decentralization is a systematic act. Manager makes the report, sends it, and he is responsible for that. Delegated authority can be taken back. Decentralization is considered a policy and happens along the path. He gave me to make a report. He gave the data to me to make a report. He can anytime say, okay, I don't want this report anymore. Leave it, go back to your work. Decentralization, there are managers, there are senior managers, there are team leaders. A manager interviews people and comes up with team leaders. So that is decentralization. Less freedom is given to subordinates in delegation. Decentralization gives substantial freedom. Again, the person does not have any authority in delegation. Decentralization gives them substantial authority and freedom. So now we'll see the mutually supportive management systems and the contingency model. It is important to have an effective control system. However, the control system can only be effective and implemented with the support of several systems, the formal and informal. It can be said that control systems are held together by mutually supportive management systems of the 7S. The control system, it is as I told you earlier, it is very important to have an effective control system. The control, however, what exactly the control systems they need to be effective. How can they be effective? We have a model here that we'll discuss, the McKenzie's model of the 7S's. It is said that control systems are held together by mutually supportive management systems of the 7S's. The McKenzie framework of the 7S's shows explicitly how the 7S's link together to implement an effective control. It is important to have an effective control, but you simply cannot have control wherein your employees are not supporting you, or the values do not support the employees. The employees do not support the values. They do not have shared values. The systems are not in place. If the systems are not in place, what will the employees follow? You need to have a goal. You need to have a structure to be followed. So let's see. Look at this. If you see, every department, every thing here is mutually connected. They have to be mutually connected. As we see, structure, system, style of functioning, staff, shared values, skills, strategy, all are mutually connected. If they are not working in cognizance with each other, usually the control systems are not called effective. So let's see what it means. Strategy, it's a plan devised to maintain and build competitive advantage over the competition. Strategy, every organization has strategy, has long-term plans. This is what we think about after 5 or 10 years from now. They need to know, they need to have strategies, plans, strategy or plans, how to take on competition. Structure, the way the organization is structured and who reports to whom. It's the hierarchy, basically. Systems, the daily activities and procedures that staff members engage in to get the job done. You go to the office daily, you do the work, you know what system, the systems are in place for you. You don't have to go daily and work out what you have to do. The systems are in place. Shared values, these are the core values of company that are evidenced in the corporate culture and the general work ethic. So is it something that you share with your management? Is it something that you share with the organization? These are the core values of company that should be shared by each other. You don't want to share the values that your leaders have in mind. How would you share the goal with them? Style, the style of leadership adopted. What is the style, the approach of leadership? Is it interactive approach? Is it very strong focus of control? What kind of leadership approach do they have? Staff, again, it's the staff, the employees and the general categories. Skills, the actual skills and competencies of the employees working for the company. So these are the 7 S's of McKenzie model, which should work mutually with each other. If they go in separate ways, for example, the leadership has certain other plans, they have certain other style of functioning which doesn't match with what the managers or the AVP or somewhere down team leaders or supervisors have, how do you think would they be able to work together? The staff, if the staff, there are different kinds of people working together, you bring them together to work towards the organization's goal. There is something that they should know, that there is something that they should be aware of, that what they have to do, the values they share, the values should be told to them. These 7 S's should be mutually taken care of, right? The above model can be applied to any organization. We understand this. Any organization can, it does have shared values, systems, structure, leadership style, skills. One employee may have some skills, the other employee may have another. One may have a good communication skill, the other may have good management skills, or probably good report writing skills. So it is to be seen which skill or which employee can be used to the best of the organization's goal. All should be mutually cohesive. If something within the company is not working, then there is some inconsistency between some elements. Absolutely. The employee doesn't know what is the strategy, how would they work towards it. And you have not told them the strategy. The employee deliberately doesn't work towards the strategy. They don't share those values, the organization's values. So it becomes difficult. Once the inconsistency is found, the organization can control it using the control systems. So, using the control systems, the organization can control any of the values that is not consistent with the organization's goals. So, that's about it in this chapter today, people. These are the questions. Thank you very much for listening.